Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Please don't forget to subscribe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blow the Whistle Sports. I'm your host, Lane Holloway, and thank you once again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. And like always, if you want to see something on our show or you have a bright idea that you want to see us implement on this show, drop them in those comments below or hit us on any one of our social media outlets. Holler at us, we holler back. Hey, we got a full show for you guys here today. But before we jump into all that, let me introduce you to my co-hosts. And he goes by the name of Mr. Patrick Nagel. How you doing, sir?
I am doing well, other than I had a little dental surgery earlier today, so the left side of my face and mouth doesn't feel like it's actually there. But other than that, I am fantastic.
You can do this.
Yeah.
I want to say I love your hat, man. Your hat looks magnificent.
You know, I like this one too. I like your hat. But it's not as nice as my hat. My hat's much nicer, but
it looks magnificent. I like it. You got all the pretty colors.
Thank you. But mostly, being is that it's football season, and we sit here on a Wednesday, and there's a full slate of games here in a couple days, and a lot of questions about a lot of teams will start to get answered as they start to put their rookies or free agent acquisitions onto the field, and we're starting to hear announcements as to what quarterbacks are starting in what places, and so we're starting to get there, right? I mean, the season is taking shape, and as a admitted football junkie, I'm excited to hear it, and I'm excited to get into it. I'll just lead off. Our beloved Carolina Panthers made an interesting move a couple hours ago, and they signed Darren Waller. So Darren Waller, very productive season last year in Miami. I mean, he scored against us last year, and he gave us fits last year.
The man has hands.
He has great hands. He's got great size. And a buddy was texting me earlier about it, and I was saying, interesting signing. And what this signals to me is, first off, no secret, you and I ranted on both Panthers Corner on here and on this channel that the Panthers the last couple of seasons have gotten 0.0 production from their tight end position.
Exactly.
And it has not really been a thing.
Well, Sanders was a bright spot, but he got hurt.
True, but even with that, let's just call it what it is. I mean, 2 or 3 catches a night that's not great production. And
so true.
So to sign a Darren Waller to a 1-year deal, that tells me they weren't super confident that the production was gonna uptick. And the other thing is, for me, we have one hell of a red zone, and I would call it the green zone, anything 20 yards and in, with the size and speed of now Waller at tight end, obviously XL, T-Mac and Coker, right? I mean, those are 4 dudes, and Bryce can just throw it up to those 4 dudes, and they have a really good chance of coming down with it on a 50-50 ball. And I'm looking at that going, all right, if we could turn 10-15% of our field goal production into touchdowns, suddenly I think we win 5 more games.
Huge difference.
And I just think, we're putting weapons on the field for Bryce, and I'll continue to say it. There are no more excuses for Bryce. And I'm a defender of Bryce, and I'm not saying he hasn't played well, because he has. I'm just saying it's put up or shut up time, because they've given you a line, they've given you depth on that line, they've invested in draft capital on that line, and signed the top guys to protect them. They have added receiving help, they've added tight end help, and they've added a defense that I think is gonna be much improved and start to hold teams to lesser scoring. As they say, the stage is set, and Mr. Young, show us what you got. And I'm confident he's going to do it.
Season. I know I said it on Panthers Corner. I probably didn't say it on here, but this is Bryce Young shock the world season.
Oh yeah.
We stay healthy. Carolina Panthers is going to take a bite out of the NFL. I believe we're going to dominate the South, and convincingly,
Yeah.
over double-digit wins this season for the Carolina Panthers with everything that's been put in front of us. And you said it, I said it, put up or shut up year for our beloved Bryce Young. And I won't say that I'm a defender of Bryce Young. I'm just, I'll say it as this. Anybody that would have came to our team, I don't care if you would put Patrick Mahomes on our team, when in the first year, he's gonna look horrible. So what? He would have got a couple more passes off, maybe. Dealing with brand new wide receivers, brand new coaching staff, brand new schemes. Hey, the way I look at it, anybody would have had a rough their first 2 years dealing with the same situations and being a brand new person to the NFL, a prospect coming in, even though the number one pick, which you're supposed to be able to do it all, it was an impossible feat, in my opinion. But all that's gone. We're wiping away that slate. It's a brand new year.
Yep.
Carolina Panthers, number one in the South, and shock the world.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said defender. Maybe I should have said realist, right? Maybe I should have pointed to the facts and said, "Hey."
Well, I understood what you were saying.
No,
Totally,
you make a good point. I make a good point. I am if you've been watching, I am all about the facts, man. Like I don't. People's opinions are people's opinions, and there's lots of sayings for them, and some of those are not PG, but I'll just say that at the end of the day, I agree with you, and I'll have a trivia question for anyone that wants to play trivia with me. The 4 top receivers that Bryce Young had in his first season, A, I'd be impressed if you could name them, and B, I think you would also find it interesting that here we are 3 years later, and not a single one of them is still in the NFL. So I think all of that matters.
But it doesn't matter to those some of those fan clubs that I go on. I talk to these people, go over and over.
Mm-hmm.
They will argue to the death, and people and their opinions. I respect everybody's opinion, but at the end of the day, when it comes to facts and opinions, when you're hovering over an opinion over reality, come on now. We're both grown, and it's easy to talk back and forth, and easy for us to understand each other. Even if we don't come to the same conclusion, we can both see from each other's perspective ways. And
we can. And I'm going to stare in the camera. Where's the camera? I'm staring right in it. I'm looking right at you, Brandon Maxwell from Panther Super Group. You're not a Panther fan if you keep just rolling the bus over every member of our team, including saying Luke was okay, but not Hall of Fame worthy. Brandon Maxwell, you're on my list. All right, let's talk about some other stuff.
I like that. I I go through the same thing in these clubs, and that was good. You put the person's name out there.
I'll put it. I don't
put
care.
them on blast because these are supposed to be fans, and you argue with them like they straight up enemies. Hey,
Exactly.
but more of Carolina talk on Panthers Corner, brought to you by Blow the Whistle Sports. Me and Patrick will be going over it. You can check that out. We'll also drop it on this channel. But let's get to some of these other teams.
Let's do it.
Cincinnati Bengals, a team that is a monster, has a monster offense. Joe Burrow is the captain, and he's an elite QB, and they just can never get over the hurdle. It seems like it's all for nothing when it comes to the end of the season with this team, and their wide receiver core is the best, arguably, because when you say the best and you fall short every year, it kind of doesn't taste right when you say it. But Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, elite company right there. Elite.
Amen.
And what do you think they need to do to get over this hump this season, Patrick? What's going on?
Well, first off, if you're a combat sports fan, you watch boxing or MMA, you may know of a commentator on Showtime named Malo Ronaldo. And he has bipolar disease. He talks about it openly, and he refers to himself as the bipolar rock and roller. And I will tell you right now, that is the Cincinnati Bengals, because on paper,
Perfect.
they should be a wrecking crew and should be wiping teams out. But then what happens in reality is a whole different thing. What should they do? In my book, it's pretty simple. They got to keep Joe Burrow upright. They haven't done that in a couple of years. And then he's had a couple fluke injuries as well on there. But they haven't protected the passer very well. When you have amazing weapons on the outside and a great running back system and Chase Brown, I mean, they should be dropping 35 points a game pretty easily and winning. Unfortunately, they have a defense that gives up 36. So as much as they need to continue their offensive greatness and keep Joe Burrow on the field and protect him, which I think they improved their offensive line this year, so I think they might be on the better side of that alignment. I'm not sure they did a lot to bolster their defense. And then they lost their big guy on the outside who went to Baltimore. His name has escaped me at this very second. Number 91, their main guy. He went to Baltimore, so they lost him. They lost their rookie last year who missed a lot of the season, Shamir Stewart, and then this year he went out on a cart. I'm not sure his availability. I'm just concerned about their ability to hold teams under 35 points a game, but because they're going to be in a shootout, every week. And if you are a fantasy football player, I would be investing in Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and/or Jamar Chase. Not that you weren't already, but I would be moving them up my list because I don't see that they're going to be holding teams down. And I think they're going to have to score a lot of points. They're going to be in a lot of shootouts this year. So I would think those guys are high on those lists. So I just don't know what to think of the Bengals. And I think they play in a tough division, right? I mean, I think the Steelers are arguably always going to be competitive. And I like the Ravens if they can teach Lamar to play quarterback, and I like some of the stuff going on in Cleveland, although some news came out today, and it is in fact the dumpster fire that we always thought it was. So what do I think of the Bengals? I don't know. And I think that's a team that the first 4 games is going to have to show me something for me to really see what they believe, because I just don't know if defensively they can keep themselves in ball games.
Well, and for me, that's the same formula every year. Their defense, and Trey is the person that left.
Yeah, Trey Anderson.
Exactly. And they still don't know what to do on that defense, which is in the offseason, everything goes to defense. Your offense is fine. Even if Burrow is running for his life, you guys are going to look okay and better than okay in most games on offense. Defense, when the offense puts up all these points, it has to translate to W's. You got to do something on defense. And for so long, and that's why their offense is so stacked, is they've concentrated on offense. You start to think, are they just trying to put butts in the seats, or do they really want to win? And even Joe Burrow has expressed his opinion about maybe wanting to get out of there because it doesn't look like the management is doing the best things for the team.
Yeah, and so here's their draft class. I mean, they didn't have a number 1 pick this year because they traded for Dexter Lawrence to improve that defensive line. So I do like that move for them. And then they went out and drafted Howell.
They needed more than just that one person.
Yeah, but they went out. But is Dexter Lawrence better than anyone they could have drafted? Probably. I mean, he's a known entity.
For that.
And, and you know what he's going to do. He's going to stuff the run. So that's an improvement. I'll give them an A for that move. They lost Trey Hendrickson. They didn't want to sign him to the big money contract. I get it. He's 31 years old, and I totally get it, coming off an injury. So they drafted the kid out of A&M, Howell, on the edge to rush. I like that. I like that move. To your point, and then they went, and I'm looking here. This is not off the top of my head. They drafted a cornerback out of Washington, Tacario Davis, center, and then they drafted some other parts in the bottom half of the draft. The point is they are trying to improve that defense, but they're young and they lost their guy Stewart in training camp. I haven't heard if he's gone for the year or not. I certainly hope he isn't, but they're getting better. I hope they're better. I hope they're competitive because,
Right.
football is always better when they're good. So, but yeah, that's a see it to believe it team for me. I don't have a lot of faith in them until I start seeing that they look good.
Yeah, I still say they're going to sneak out of that 9-10 wins, and in that division they're going to be second.
But that only matters if they can keep Burrow upright. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, but if they can't keep Burrow upright, then that 9 wins goes to 5. And although they did re-sign Flacco as a backup, who is a great backup, but I don't know. I'm just not sold on them, and the other thing, I mean, we could do a whole show on the Bengals. Their ownership sucks, and
it is right there.
They don't invest the money in the team. They don't invest the money in the facilities. They to your point, they get the shiny, flashy penny in Burrow and Jamar Chase. They put all the money in that, and then they have nothing left for anybody else.
Top jersey sales,
and that's what they got. And it's like, good luck, coach. And that's it. And so I don't think they run a great team there. That's one of the oldest ownerships in the NFL. Right. Mike Brown family owns that team, and I don't think they have the money, the resources to really develop the team and the facility like they should.
They keep doing the same things and expecting different results, and that's what you get. Joe Burrows, I believe, after this season is going to want out. If they don't make some type of miraculous,
it's going to be a tough one, man, because he's on a pretty fat contract.
I understand that, but this is the way sports are done, where when a person starts complaining and at that high level position as a QB, we never seen it before, but he might be able to force his way out by somebody else wanting to get him in a huge trade because he's just so disgruntled in that position.
55 million is a big salary to take on, but I hear you.
I understand the Jets. The Jets need a solid QB. I'm gonna put that out there. But before we go to the Jets, let's go to New England, a team that did well last season and just couldn't get right. Even with playing a team that was hurt, they still couldn't prevail. I don't think this team is going to show up like they did last season. And the Patriots, I don't want to be the person that's down on the people on the team. I just believe that they essentially got lucky. And I hope that I'm wrong. I hope I have to eat crow, Patrick. But I believe that they prevailed because other teams declined last season. My honest opinion.
I don't disagree with you there, but what I will say is the same thing I always say, and that is you only play who's on your schedule. And, and you play them when you play them. And if those guys aren't there, they aren't there. To me, it doesn't cheapen the win, right? You have 17 games. And your job is to win all of them, and you show up and you play against the team on the other side, and that's what you do. So
1,000%.
Did they benefit from maybe a softer schedule but when it was all said and done? Sure, but that to me is post analysis, and I hate that because you still got to show up and play, and you didn't know at the time that the team you played in week 4 was going to be absolutely trash, and then because of injuries and whatever, and they ended up 2-15, and they had the number 1 pick in the draft. Titans, I see you, but
I'm not downing them. I'm only putting it out there. I'm only being a realist because at the end of the day, they threw up a dud against a team who didn't have a QB. That should have been a no-brainer right there.
Although that weather, I don't know. The weather there was that weather game was that was a tough weather night, and I don't know if either team. If both teams are at full strength, I do think Denver would have won the game, but I still think it would have been a sloppy, ugly game. I don't think it would have been a crisp and clean game. I just don't. That weather was pretty bad. But
I'll go for it.
But let me go back to New England.
Okay.
What's success for them? Is success that they have to go back to the Super Bowl, or is success that they win the division and get to the postseason? or get a wild card and get to the postseason. Because I'll say this: is Buffalo better than they were last year, or worse than they were last year? I think Buffalo's better. Okay, so maybe New England doesn't win the division because Buffalo's better and they get a wild card. They're still a playoff team in my book. And then once you're in the tournament, anything can happen, right?
Right.
Are they going to be statistically better than they were last year? I don't think so. Are they going to win 11 games? I would say they'll probably win one less. I think they're like a 10-win team to me, but still a playoff contender. I think in that division, you have two teams clearly at the top, right? Buffalo and New England, they are head and shoulders above the next two, the Jets and Miami. Miami's going to be trash. They gave away almost their entire team, fire sale, got a bunch of draft picks. They've drafted some interesting players. I do like signing Malik Willis as a quarterback. But they just don't have all the pieces and parts they need. So they might be competitive out, but they're not going to win a whole lot of games. The Jets are terrible. I'll make another challenge. If anyone can tell me without looking up who their starting quarterback is going to be, I'd be surprised if half the people even know.
Wow.
Do you know?
It will be the person they just signed, right?
They traded for him, but who's going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Jets in week 1 of this season, barring injury?
Malik. No,
that's Miami. That's Miami.
He just left the Raiders.
He did. That's the guy. So
Geno Smith. See, there we go.
But my point was just made. You, a very knowledgeable, avid football fan, it took you a minute to get there. You got there, but it took you a minute.
True.
And by that, what I'm saying is, if you can't rattle it off the top of your head, he probably isn't that good. And, he's definitely in the twilight of his career. Are we expecting Geno to take the Jets to the playoffs? Absolutely not. So New England, has a chance to win that division. New England, I don't think will win the division. I think Buffalo will win the division. And I think New England will make the playoffs. I like the addition of A.J. Brown for them. I think it gives them another weapon.
And Romeo Doubs.
And Boodle. They got a nice threesome out there. And then, Hunter Henry's a good tight end.
Yes, he is.
They have pieces on that, on that team. And their running backs were good. Ramon Stevens and the other kid, Henderson, who was a rookie last year from Ohio State. They have a lot. Their offense looks great. So could they be the same? They could. But I just think Buffalo's going to be just a smidge better, and I think that's going to be a tough division. But I'm here for it, and I think that's going to be a great fight all season long between those two teams.
Hey, I hear what you're saying, and it sounds good. I believe that Buffalo is going to be a juggernaut in this division, and it's going to be a little more on the Buffalo end than anything else. And I believe that these two new additions being outstanding, but having to get their time. I hope they're doing a lot of work in training camp right now. A lot of work, because I just don't see them returning to their former status. Maybe the year next, but I think they're going to take a step back this season. I don't think New England is going to see the light of day. They will have games. They will stand up. They will look good in some games, but I think they missed the playoffs this season. And and Buffalo, I believe, is going to tower over them this season.
Write that down. Wayne says no New England in the playoffs. You heard it from him.
Just my humble opinion. That's the way I feel. When a team does so good one season, and then after that season, they get rid of their 1,000-yard receiver to go get somebody else who, on paper, looks better and should be better, but is he going to have that same hookup with the QB as the guy that they let exit and go to Washington, which is a team that I think has taken a major step up with that addition? I just don't. Yeah. I just don't see it. But hey,
you and I are a little bit of a different. You are very, very bullish on the Bills. You think they're going to be the best team in the history of teams.
I didn't say that. You put that in my mouth, but I said they will win the Super Bowl this season. Buffalo Bills.
You did many times, and I'm not quite there. I think they're going to be a good team. I'm not quite there. New England, I don't think they're going to fall all the way back from craziness, and I think the benefit, because I think there's 4 wins within their division easily with playing the Dolphins twice and the Jets twice. So I don't know that they'll fall completely from grace. I do like a lot of their weapons. So I think they're going to be a decent team. But hey, that's why they play the game, and we'll find out what happens.
And that's why every week is going to be lovely this season in NFL. This season.
Amen.
Let's move to a team who has been not a bright spot in the NFL, but a team who we've talked about while we were just talking about New England, and they are the New York Jets. You know, Geno Smith, the guy that I couldn't remember, that I couldn't rattle off. He's had a somewhat in and out career from injuries. Then he came back with a brand new lease on life and had a wonderful time in Seattle. And then his coach left and he followed the coach. Mistake, but it happened. We're past that. Now he's on the depth chart with Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, and Omari Cooper Jr.
Adonai Mitchell.
What do you think about that, Patrick?
I like their weapons. I'm not sure Geno's the trigger man for them, but I like their weapons. Interesting story. Geno was drafted by the Jets. I mean, for those who don't remember,
full circle,
out of West Virginia way back when, and they ran him out of town with pitchforks. And as he conveniently said in his interview, when he was written off, he didn't write back. But now he's back. So I like, Adonai Mitchell. He's a really good receiver. Obviously, Garrett Wilson has had flashes and been a good receiver for a long time. They did have a phenomenal draft. I thought the Jets had a phenomenal draft. They drafted Kenyon Sadiq, at tight end, who I think is going to be a star in this league. I was hopeful that my Panthers would get him. He was taking a couple picks before us, so we didn't. so we didn't even have a chance at it.
Right.
So that was disappointing to me. I like the kid out of Indiana, the receiver you just mentioned. So do they have a chance of being good? They do. But I think they've traded away a lot of players on defense last year. Quinnen Williams, they traded away. They stacked some picks. They did some things. They had a good draft on paper. Obviously, it's always on paper. And you gotta get it on the field and show it. So
true.
I'm hopeful that they got better. But what history has shown us is it doesn't matter. They're like the ultimate bad luck team. I mean, they signed Aaron Rodgers. Everyone thinks they're going to be amazing and all these things, and they're not. And he gets hurt on play 2 or 3, 4. I think it was play 4. But
are you talking about the same guy that says preseason is not real games?
That guy. But for the sake of this discussion, though, let's talk about their draft. So they drafted David Bailey at number 2, phenomenal edge rusher out of Texas Tech. They draft Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end that I was talking about out of Oregon. Guy's an athletic freak. He's more of a receiving tight end mold, not a blocking tight end, but this guy's going to be a matchup nightmare. They're already saying in camp he's actually dominating. And their third number 1 pick, 3 number 1 picks of the draft was Omar Cooper Jr., the wide receiver out of Indiana. Little guy, reminds me a lot of another little guy, Agent 89 in Carolina.
Ice up, son.
Yeah. And so that's a phenomenal three draft right there. I mean, you get a stud edge rusher to match up with Johnson. So now you got pretty decent edge, and you got 2 offensive, difference makers for the next quarterback, because it ain't going to be Geno next year. After that, in the second round, they drafted D'Angelo Pons, another great kid out of Indiana, who also not on the big side of things, but very strong competitor, great cover corner. If he was 5'11", he probably would have been drafted in the top 10 picks. And then they didn't have another pick till 4. They had 2 4th-round picks. They drafted Cade Klubnik out of Clemson, quarterback, who I actually think will be a better professional quarterback than he was college quarterback. I had the blessing to watch him play in person, and it was he reminded me a whole heck of a lot of Joe Burrow.
Wow.
And I'm
That's high praise.
I'm not saying he is Joe Burrow, but
okay.
But the way he moved in the pocket, 6'5", 255.
Okay. Similarity.
And he could move just a smidge. And you know, when he had weapons, the year that Clemson had receivers, they were like a top 5 team in the college rankings and a playoff team. When those guys graduated into the NFL and he didn't have weapons, he struggled last year. You know, he's the guy that if he would have gone into the draft a year earlier, he would have been drafted in the first round, no doubt in my mind. So maybe he's the guy, and they'll develop him and see if he's ready. I'm curious to see what his preseason looks like, and see what that means. But yeah, I think the Jets are on. I think the Jets are on the upswing. The question is Aaron Glenn the guy? Is he gonna take them to the promised land and make them a competitor again, or is it the same old story in New York? And you know, another topic for another night, another show is the pressures of playing in the big market cities, New York and Boston. I mean, we can sit here and list out dozens of examples of high-priced free agents that got traded to either the Yankees or the Mets or the Red Sox or the Jets or the Giants, and they just couldn't handle the media scrutiny, the big time pressure that is New York. They go elsewhere and they have phenomenal careers. So there's something to be said about New York.
What I like, you said everything right that I was thinking about the Jets, but this is the thing that, and people are going to call me crazy, and I don't care.
You are crazy, but it's okay.
There it is. But the Jets are going to be a sneaky team this season. Are they going to make a splash? I don't think so. No. But they will beat teams that you're not going to expect them to beat. What I like is Geno Smith has done this before where he's went to a team and he's been expected to underachieve with the weapons that he has, and there's no pressure there. There's no pressure for somebody that's already being talked down on. And Geno Smith, for a lot, he shows and proves, and he surprises you. And if teams come in there, if they come to New York, or New York strolls into their neck of the woods with Geno Smith and his wide receiver weapons, anything can go. Anything can go.
I agree with you. I think they're going to be a tough out this year. I don't think you're just going to roll through them. I think they're going to give you some fits if you're not paying attention, and if you fall asleep at the wheel, they're going to beat you. And I just want to point out on the football app finder that I use to talk about different things, at the very bottom of the Jets stuff, talking about their draft, it reads this line, and I thought it was kind of funny. It says, and notably, Cade Klubnik at 110 gives the Jets a potentially intriguing young quarterback behind their veterans. Sneaky, exciting pick. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he got drafted. Now he's got to put it on the field.
That's right. Well, let's stay in New York and let's move to those Giants. We talked a bit about them a previous show, but I just wanted to reevaluate, since we were talking about the big market and the bright lights, and we do have a guy that came in there, which is Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbull, that lit it up for us a season ago until that tragic injury. But sir, Jackson Dart, I'm not a Giants fan, but the way that him and Scatterbull gel together, the swag on the team, they got Malik Neighbors over there, Darius Slayton, Calvin Austin III. This team, I expect big things from this team. I do. I think that these two guys, Jackson Dart and Scatterbull, can propel this team to make a splash in this division that's not going to be expected. It's going to be sneaky, that they might even take second in this division.
Yeah.
Very sneaky.
I think you're smoking crack. So here, let's douse some water on the flames here. I no. First off, most importantly, I like Jackson Dart a lot. I thought he was the best quarterback coming out of the draft last year. I actually like him better than Caleb Williams, but that's just my opinion.
Wow.
I like Jackson Dart a lot. Started at USC, lit it up there, but they had a litany of quarterbacks there at that time, and then he transferred to Ole Miss, where he came after Matt Corral and literally broke every passing record in Ole Miss history. He looked great. I love Jackson Dart a lot. I thought the team that drafted him got a steal, and he got on the field in New York, and he looked great. So
I'm waiting to hear this butt. It sounds like a butt coming. I feel like it's a butt coming.
There's a butt coming, and it's a big butt, but we'll get there. But this is his sophomore season, and sophomore seasons typically in the NFL for quarterbacks is a tough one. So we'll see what he does with that. The bigger butt for me is Scatterbo. He's all hype and not a lot of substance.
Wow.
Statistically speaking, he's not that great. And he talks a lot, and he celebrates a lot when he does something exciting, and he makes some good plays. He reminds me a lot of Peyton Hillis, where he had a couple of decent seasons and then disappeared. I think Cam Scatterbo is that guy. I think Tyrone Tracy Jr. is the better running back and will be the starting running back in for the Giants. I think Scatterbo will be a nice short yardage back, maybe some H back, which is where I think they should use him better. Anyways, he puts himself in jeopardy for poundings too much, and he gets hurt, and then he does stupid crap like do backflips on stage and almost breaks his leg. So he is in every sense of the word.
That's a youngster, man. Stop being so tough on the youngster.
He's a meathead. He made a mistake. He's a meathead / butthead, and I show me a real full professional season, and I'll change my opinion.
I got it.
They're draft class, okay. This is where I think they start to ascend. First off, I think the biggest signing they had all year was bringing in John Harbaugh. I mean, I think he's a proven coach that year after year after year puts his teams in contention to win, and they play at a higher level than I think the Giants are used to playing in a long time. I mean, this is almost, to me, reminiscent of the Bill Parcells days, where you're bringing in a guy who, has done it and has done it at a high level, but also puts up with no junk, and we're going to get after it. So I like that. I love their draft. Okay, they got in the fifth pick, they took the linebacker out of Ohio State, rusher Arvell Reese, and I think he's a stud. And now you got Burns, Reese, Thibodeau. You got a lot of guys. I see you, Charles. I see you. I'm not a giant killer. I'm just a realist, brother. I'm just a realist. And I like at the 10th pick. I like the lineman that they took there, and they got a good defensive back, Colton Hood. And I really like the 3rd round pick at wide receiver, Fields out of Notre Dame. I thought not enough people talked about him because he wasn't flashy, but he was just consistently good. And and I think that gets overlooked a lot. If you don't put up like amazing stats every night or whatever, but Fields he looked like a pro, and he reminded me a lot of Tim Brown in that Golden Dome helmet. So the Giants, I think, are on the upswing. The problem they have, I could see them getting to number 2. But the problem they have is they're in the division with the Eagles and the Commanders. Now, you already said you think the Commanders are going to be amazing. So what does that mean with the Eagles? How did the Giants leapfrog one of those teams in your own words? But for me, I think the 3rd best team in that division, I think they might be on the outside looking in for a wild card, meaning by that, what I mean is week 14, 15, 16, they're competing, but they might be just one or 2 wins short of getting there this season. But I think that sets the stage for them in 27.
Right. What to answer, the Eagles, I believe, are going to be the ones at the top. And like I said, Washington will be squabbling with them at the top. But the Giants, and let's talk a little bit. Not talk a little bit, but let's bring up the sophomore slump that we've talked about. I kind of put that. It's hard to talk about these things because as much as I don't like it, because I kind of put it hand in hand with the Madden curse, and
but both things are real.
That's the thing I'm saying. I hate because I hate to buy into it, but it just seems so real at certain times. So that's why I have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and I still like the Scatterboo. I still like the Dart. I that they have something special, I believe, and I believe you're going to be wrong about Scatterboo, and he is going to dominate long as he can stay healthy and that
Wayne?
doesn't re-injure that leg.
Let me just tell you, Wayne. If I'm wrong about Scatterboo, I'm wrong about anybody. I'll be the first guy to stand up here and say, "Wow, I did not see that. I was wrong." But here's good news for Giants fans out there, and it appears that Charles here, who's blowing me up over here on the side in comments, good news is Jackson might escape the sophomore slump just in the fact that he has a new offensive coordinator and a new head coach, and so teams don't really know how to game plan him yet, and so he might be able to escape that sophomore slump, but we'll see, and that's why they play the game. And but those that's going to be a fun division because we didn't even talk about another team in that division.
We'll get there. Shout out to Charles Tung, 944. Thank you for all the comments, sir.
I mean, you're talking about the Commanders in second, and the Giants possibly getting there, and then the Eagles in first. But what about the other team in that division? Are you just saying the Cowboys are going to be in last place?
Well, I'm saying I stopped really talking about the Cowboys because I've put the Cowboys on the back burner since they put themselves on the back burner. They haven't tried anything to get over that hump. And the Cowboys, I've said it before in this show, they always look great. They always look great. But it's been too many years, too many bad decisions. We gotta hope that they have a record-breaking year, which they should with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. My goodness, but I have no faith at all in Dak Prescott, none whatsoever, and that's why a team that should be talked as rattling with the with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not even gonna give them that respect. And my bad, Dallas Cowboys. And we have a guy that's going to be coming on the show called Cowboy Chris. That he wants to talk to us about some stuff with the Cowboys.
Well, I'll be happy to talk to Cowboy Chris, and I'm going to get my hot take right now. You ready? Hot take. You ready? Dak Prescott is the fourth best quarterback in his own division.
Ooh. So I've been justified everything I said.
I mean, he's not better than Jalen Hurts.
No.
He's not better than Jackson Dart, in my opinion, and he's not better than why is his name escape me right now in Washington? But I don't think he's better than that guy. And,
you talking about the Washington QB?
Yeah. Oh, look at. Well, what do you mean no Cowboy Chris? Bring his ass on. Let's go. America's team, my ass. Let's go.
Well, that's an old saying. That's something they made up back in the day that just transferred over. It's like buying a business that has a liquor license, and when you buy it, you get the liquor license. That's all that was.
You know what I love to say every time Dallas loses?
What?
How about them Cowboys?
Oh man, you and Stephen A, huh?
I hate the Cowboys. And I said it, Kobe. I said it. He's the fourth best quarterback in his own division.
Hey, it is what it is. But Dallas Cowboy fans, I'll say it again. You guys are a marketing genius team. Your team makes buku bucks off of products and memorabilia. And the team, to me, over these last 15 years has come fourth on that list over marketing and grabbing great players just to sell jerseys. That's just what that team seems like.
They made millions and billions of dollars off of being a mediocre team? How about them Cowboys?
You said it there. Star status. One of you guys come on, please speak for your beloved Cowboys. Let me know. We're not hating. We're only calling it how we see it. It's only opinions. I would love to hear some of you star status people to let us know. We're going to open the phone lines. You know what? Matter of fact, let's open the phone lines next week. So, on Wednesday, we will open the phone line so you guys can call in and give us your opinions about everything that we've talking about. We might as well open these phone lines for the next few weeks before the season starts, because when the season starts, the first 4 to 5 weeks, I don't know if we're going to open the phone lines, but it's going to be a lot to talk about. It's going to be a barn burner, as they say, when the season starts.
Well, I say bring it. Let's go.
All right, let's move to a different division. Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones, the hurt guy, and Jonathan Taylor just got a new contract. Congratulations right there.
All right.
But will they return to the former status before Daniel Jones was hurt? Alec Pierce, the wide receiver, their number one, what's going on with him? He's out. Is that injury going to linger into week 1 of the season?
Kind of sounds like it might. But you know, we talked about it a little bit on Monday, and I'll just reiterate. The answer for me is yes. I think the Colts, they found their secret sauce on how to play. You know,
it looked like
play you know, good solid defense and play good quality football and utilize that awesome running back you have in the backfield and throw when needed. And I thought Daniel Jones was playing phenomenal football last year before his injury.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the record was impressive, right? I mean, what were they? At one point, were they 11-1? I think. I mean, they were cooking with gas, and then it all kind of fell apart. And then they brought Old Man Rivers, and hey, they almost. I mean, to put it in perspective, they almost won a game with taking a guy that off the bench off the couch on Tuesday and started a game on Sunday, and he was competitive in that game. They were in it until the end, and you know, true to form, if you look at their draft, what they did was they just went defense heavy, right? Drafted C.J. Allen, you know, great Georgia, another great Georgia linebacker. They drafted a safety out of LSU, Halke, who was very, very tough. They drafted another great defensive stud, kind of a hybrid safety linebacker, and Botcher out of Oregon. 2 edge rushers, one from Florida, one of Ohio State. So what does that tell you? We feel pretty good about our offense. We just felt we needed to stack up on our defense, and they got some pretty good dudes here. So, you know, I look at this and say, hey, this is a quality team. They got better. I think they got better because they know who their quarterback is. They know what their identity is. They got back to their identity. They were running the football, mixing the run and the pass well, and they were pounding teams out, and they were winning well. So, to me, I think the Colts are back, and I think they're going to be a tough team and probably win that division.
They were amazing to me. I didn't expect this out of Daniel Jones. When he went there, I thought it was going to be a lot of the same old. I didn't know who Daniel Jones was. I know he played for the other team for a couple of years, but then when he went to this team, it was like the Lion King when they held Simba up. Daniel Jones stood out like a shining star, and he shocked everybody.
He didn't shock me because I'll say this was the Daniel Jones in year 1 and year 2 in New York that took him to the playoffs, you know, and got Brian Dable like a lot of like coach of the year and all that, kind of like he's a mastermind and a genius. And then as soon as the offensive line stopped falling apart and Daniel Jones was hurt and they kept running him with a bad neck injury, you know, I just feel like this. They put him in the right system, and when you put a quarterback in the right system, suddenly things look good. And you know, again, when you have Jonathan Taylor back there, why are you not using him? I mean,
exactly. And for
he's
me,
a stud. Use him.
Daniel Jones in New York looked like Bobby Boucher to me. The frustration on his face. I understand the little stuff that he did. It just didn't seem like he was going to be the guy. It seemed like going through the motions. So a few good things happened. I just didn't feel superstar until he hit the Indianapolis Colts. His whole game face changed. He stopped looking like Bobby Boucher. He started looking like a competitor, and he started competing well, where everything he did looked like it was going to work.
I have a different opinion, and I already said it. When he was playing great and they went to the playoffs, like the whole town was Daniel Jones is the man, right? And then when things started to go sideways, the whole town wanted him out and were publicly debating whether or not he should be cut. So I think the pressures of New York got to him. This is a small town kid who played at Duke. So one, what do we know about him that he played at Duke? One, we know he's a super smart kid. And right. Two, he wasn't a super highly recruited guy because, you know, you can't be super smart if he was that highly recruited, he would have found his way onto another team. And he played well at Duke, elevated his status, became a first-round draft pick, and then went to the Giants. And New York loved him. He was the toast of the town until his own coach threw him under the bus to save his job. And then they got rid of Saquon. And then publicly it was choose between it became the media portrayed it in New York as they had to pick between Daniel Jones and Saquon, and they picked the wrong guy. And now they picked the wrong guy. You suck. We want you out of this town. And I think the weight of New York got to him. He goes to a different community, another place where they don't have a great quarterback situation. He's embraced. Actually, he got cut. He went to the Vikings and sat on the bench and learned from Kevin O'Connell. Never suited up there. The same, but had Sam Darnold and learning. Goes there, kind of resets his mindset. Goes to Indy. Gets himself a contract, competes for the starting job, wins the starting job. They embrace him. They start winning, and everyone loves him, and he plays great. That, to me, is the perfect example of a guy who didn't fit in New York, period.
Hey, that was a whole load that everything. I was listening to everything you said, and I was like, wow, that would be a great for you to do that speech while he'd have his tape playing in the background, because I mean, you had me like, wow, that you set it up perfectly. But I'm just gonna say, the way he looked on the Giants, the way he looks like a grown ass man now on the Indianapolis Colts. In the Giants, maybe it was the weight. I'll buy into that. Maybe it was the weight, because I'll throw another guy in there, Cam Newton, which I was mad when Phillip Rivers got the job in Indianapolis. At the time he got the job, I thought Cam Newton was the no-brainer. The guy who's still young and still a physical specimen. I thought that would be a better fit than Rivers, after Rivers been sitting on the couch for so long and eating ho-hos and yum-yums. But, you know, Cam Newton said, was it this week or last week? He said something that really broke my heart when it comes to he didn't care about no Super Bowls. He's got every other award. That really did something to me. Because he, in my opinion, Cam Newton should still be playing football. It's just that his whole all around, like I've said it before, his aura overshines any organization, and people just don't like him just for he's different. He's a different type of person. But with all that being said,
I just have to say something.
Go ahead.
Cam Newton can't throw the football anymore. And his arm has never been the same since the hit he took, the illegal hit he took against TJ Watt on Monday Night Football. He's never been the same in 2016. And wow. I love Cam Newton. But realistically, he can't throw the football. And so no, he's not being signed because his aura or all the off-field stuff. He's not being signed because he can't throw the football. And if you watch, hold on, before you say anything, if you watch, when he went to New England, he never threw the ball for much success past 10 yards down the field. When he came back to Carolina, he never threw the football much past 15 yards down the field. You can't play quarterback if you can't throw it further than 15 yards, because what is every defender? They just stack the box and you have nowhere to throw the football. As much as I love Cam Newton, and anyone that wants to argue with me, I'll happily, let's play the tape. Because after he came back from the injury in 2016.
I've heard that argument before. I get it.
Since he came back from 2016, he's not the same guy. And I don't think he can, if he was ever honest, he can't throw the football.
I would love to interview him and ask him that question.
I'd ask him. You know, I would.
I would love to ask him that question. Yeah. That him, Bryce Young, are two people I've been waiting to get a chance to basically do my own private interview with, so I can come and tell my findings from just talking to them. I'm gonna get it. I know I'm gonna get it. But that's interesting. In my opinion, I believe he can throw, but I can't go off of facts because I can only go off of what you saw also. And
play the film.
I can't argue that fact.
Play the film after 2016. Play it.
I had to play it. I watched every game.
I mean,
every
it breaks my heart to say
game.
it. I feel joy in saying this. It breaks my heart. But he was never the same player after that play.
Man. Just like a good wide receiver that played for the Pittsburgh Steelers after he took a brutal hit. He came up a different person, whole different personality. But hey, you know what? That's another story for another day. Let's move on to our division. People in our division have been on my bumper about the New Orleans Saints, saying that they are going to beat us and they're going to be the run of the town in the South. I beg to differ, but what do you honestly? I know we're Carolina fans, but let's be honest about it. What do you feel about it?
Here's the thing. I mean, the Saints are an interesting story because everyone is making the argument that Tyler Schrock is their guy for the future, and he's a guy that played himself into a position to say he gets the opportunity to play himself into the future for this season, right?
Right.
But they were a 7-win team. I mean, like, so why are we so excited about them? They had tremendous turnover at the wide receiver. They traded away Shaheed. They didn't bring back Brandon Cooks. Mm-hmm. And they drafted Jordan Tyson, who I love the kid as a wide receiver at Arizona State, but he also has a hard time staying on the field and staying healthy, very small. So you got two guys as your number 1 and number 2 receiver, and Chris Olave and now Jordan Tyson, that are small, that are injury prone in their careers. So what are we doing?
Wishful thinking is what they're doing.
They lost their jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife. The guy that scored a touchdown against us seemingly every time he touched the ball, and Taysom Hill, he's gone. So what are the Saints? I don't know, and I don't know that the Saints know what they are. Their defense is getting older. They've had some turnover on the defense.
True.
They're in salary cap hell, which means they had to cut a lot of people. So I don't see it. I think they're the worst team in the division. So,
and then you have it there, Juan Carlos. you one main person that keeps needling me about these Saints. I said it. We didn't go over that. He said it also.
Are the Saints better than the Falcons? No. Are the Saints better than the Bucks? No. Are the Saints better than the Panthers? No. And
Carlos.
And you're going to be the last place team in your division. It sucks to suck. Enjoy the cellar, Carlos.
Hey, we were there.
For a long time. For a long time.
We left a couple drinks and cups on the right by the barrel. Welcome to them, because we're not going back there, sir.
Listen, there's some Bojangles left in the cabinet. So grab it on your way out.
There it is. And I don't have much to say about the New Orleans Saints. I only brought that up because I had a few people off camera playing poker and sitting next to me in poker games. There are Saints fans, diehard Saints fans, and they are in a different world when it comes to their Saints. And go ahead.
Well, my man, I'll just say this. It's interesting. You run into a lot of people that like to say a lot of stuff off camera. Come on camera and talk.
And when you open the phone lines, you're welcome to call in and say what you got to say. Get it off your mind.
Please, I encourage you. Saints fans, come on, tell me I'm wrong. But You suck. Enjoy it, and let's move on.
Let's go to our last team before we get up out of here, which will be the Detroit Lions.
They're my bounce back team. They're my bounce back team.
Oh man, the Detroit Lions, they are something else. That's a team that's in not even a tough division, I would call it anymore.
Really? You don't think playing against the Packers and the Bears in the Vikings in that division is tough? I do.
Not the Vikings, but the Bears. Arguably, I think the Bears benefited like the Patriots did last season. But I don't hold too much status with the Bears. The Packers, I give them a little bit more of a leeway to rival them, but I still don't see it. The Lions, in my opinion, should be juggernauts in that division only if Mr. Campbell, their coach, let them be. Let them score points instead of going for it on fourth down. Put the points on the board. I'll say it again, Lions fans, Mr. Campbell, put the points on the board, and then the Lions are never losing. If they get in the red zone every time, and when you don't make that first down, when you go for it on third, don't try to go for it on fourth. Put the points on the board and then come back down, because I've seen this team over and over again be in the red zone and not put points up, and they're dominating the team, which they've let the team back in. And then when it gets toward the middle and end of the game, now they're fighting for their life after they played a lovely game that their coach did not let them receive the points for. If they just put points on the board, nobody can beat the Lions in that division.
I'm going to offer a little bit of a different perspective there, and that is this.
Go ahead.
Lions are my bounce back team. I think they're going to be, right back at the top of that division this year. And the Lions, what happens to the Lions is what happens to all teams when they become really good. And that is other teams start stealing away all your coaches and all your coordinators, right? So the offensive coordinator that made the Lions the special team and did all these unique things is now the head coach in Chicago. The defensive coordinator that made that defense, bite your kneecap philosophy that Dan Campbell had, is now the head coach for the New York Jets. So, and the guys that he got to replace him, he clearly didn't feel comfortable with, so he moved them on and he brought on new people. I think that's important to point out, because that's the product of being good in this league, right? When you become good, then people want to come take your dudes. And that's what happened to the Lions. The Lions they raided the cupboards, and a lot of the guys making those decisions were no longer there. And now all of a sudden, the guys that replaced them it just didn't gel well last year. And I think they made moves. I think they'll be right back where they belong. Their skills are too good. They have too many good weapons on that team to not be good. I agree with you I like the fourth down mentality, although I do think there are times and places where you need to be a little smarter. And I thought Dan was a tad reckless with it at times, as opposed to, I agree with you, taking the points there would benefit the team. So all that being said, I think that's a tough division. Charles Tong, I'm sorry, said something that I agree with, and I couldn't agree more with, and you just put it on the screen there. Tough in the winter, man. Tough in the winter to play in Chicago. Tough in the winter to play in Green Bay. Obviously the Lions and the Vikings both have dome stadiums, but, I haven't researched the schedule. But if you're playing Green Bay late in the season in Green Bay, that's a tough game. If you're playing Chicago late in the season, that's a tough game because it's a proven fact. It's not an opinion. Dome teams really struggle outdoors in the playoffs come playoff time. So
Patrick, I want to go to one of those games.
What's that?
I've been trying to find somebody who's going to go to a game like that with me. I'm doing my thing where I go to every stadium, but I want to go to I want to go to a weather game where it's snowing.
Let's go.
And put my stuff on and be right in there while it's snowing, and it's we right in the thick of it. I want to do that.
You got to do it once, right? I mean, I don't want to live it, but I could do it, right? No, I'm down. Let's get it on the schedule. I was kind
I'm
of
gonna
hoping
hold
the
you to that
Carolina.
when we find that. I'm
I
gonna
was kind
hold
of
you
hoping the
to it.
Carolina Cleveland game would have been later in the season to take a shot, but it's the third game, so we're not going to get the winter game there. But yeah, no, Lions. I'm very bullish on the Lions. I think the Lions might be the best team in that division if they can play right.
Right. With the Lions, in my opinion, and I'm right with you on there. With them losing their coaches and things like that, and I'm not going to hold them to last season because their offensive juggernaut on their team, Sam Laporta, went down. To me, Sam Laporta is like the safety valve for
sure.
that team, and without him, they were a completely different team. Sam Laporta's back. With all the pieces are there, wide open. I just want to see them put points on the board. Keep the game moving. Don't take the momentum away from your team. And arguably, even when all those coaches were gone, I seen a lot of games where the offense that they still had the same pieces. The pieces were still looking good. It was just bad decisions made in the red zone a lot of the times. I'm not a fan of the Detroit Lions, but I love football, and this is one of those teams that get those late games where the sunshine games where you have to watch because that's the team that's on Thursday night. You see it a lot. A lot. But hey, Patrick, is anything you want to say before we get up out of here? Because we've been on for a minute. And thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Blood Whistle support us. We love you. We're on Kick. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Follow us on all our different aspects, and we appreciate you, especially you, Charles. 7 campuses. Hey, we love y'all.
Well, I don't know who's this. Hollywood Holloways. I don't know if I love that one. I mean, that one's laughing at me, and we're gonna have to talk about that one. But the other ones are good. But no. Thanks for all the comments, everyone. Appreciate it. Always fun. We're talking ball, and if you can't tell, I'm pretty excited to talk ball, and I can talk ball all night. But we gotta cut it short, and most importantly, when we huddle back up and on Monday, so in 5 straight days, we will have actual games to recap and talk about who excited us, who looked good, who didn't look good, and what we think about the different things happening all across the NFL.
Hey, we'll see y'all Monday, 7 p.m. Blow the Whistle Sports. Like,
Nice,
subscribe, and share.